Hey guys, I'm Dan here. In this video, I want to go through a very serious concept with all of you guys. Alright, so in this internet marketing industry or dropshipping industry or e-commerce, you need to constantly be adapting to new changes or die. Alright, this is a serious issue. Alright, so actually a few months back, or actually half a year back or a year ago, it was a huge Facebook algorithm changes. All right, if for those just starting out, you may not understand this, but for those who have been around, you do know that Facebook algorithm changes every once in a while, and every time when this occurs, ad starts to change, CPC, CPM start to rise, and it lasts over a period of time before everything starts to stabilize down again. And for the huge algorithm changes, there's a lot of things you need to deal with. Changes of ad copies, changes of more emphasis on quality videos, more quality in certain things. I remember the huge algorithm change on the previous one was less organic and huge stuff like that. Right, so it's very important we be constantly following on the algorithm changes. All right, so a lot of things. It's very important. Having said that, it's not to panic. All right. Last time when this huge algorithm change occurred, me and Steve actually made a video, in our e-commerce elites mastermind group, telling people, everyone, not to panic. All right, it doesn't mean Facebook is dead, or e-commerce is dead, or dropshipping is dead. Now, just looking at 1 year until now, have dropshipping changed? Have dropshipping died? No, it never. All right, it never changed or it never died. All right, so if you look back now, Facebook algorithm changes will always occur. All right, so you have to adapt to this. You have to have a do not panic situation and actually deal with it calmly. All right, so because we have been in the industry for over 10 years, we know things like that will occur, and we are very calm when handling things like that. All right, so together, by being in the industry so long, we learn the rules of the game better. Right, we learn the rules. We have known the rules for a long time. So when things like that occur, we do not panic, and it's very important. Right, so we became the cream of the crop for a reason, because we know how to deal with such situations, which is very important. All right, so whenever a new change occur, I want to tell you that do not panic and start questioning your resolve or your business. I'm pretty sure it will affect you, but it will not just Facebook is not gonna die or not just gonna disappear off one day. All right, I remember the previous one, people say, oh, Facebook marketing doesn't work anymore. It's ridiculous, right? Looking one back ago, and someone said that Facebook marketing is not gonna work. It's not gonna ever happen that way. So you have to understand that when a huge change occur, you need to adapt. Do not panic and deal with it calmly, and learn the rules better, and then together you guys can become the cream of the crop as well. All right, okay. So next up, after with new changes, with new Facebook changes, there will always be new updates as well at the same time. All right, so for us, we spend a lot of money always testing new trends. All right, we always spend money testing new trends, right? Because you do not know whether this new trend will work for you or not. All right, so but without testing, you never know, right? So you have to always be constantly very aware of the changes, of the new Facebook trends and new updates. Okay, so for us, what we do is always we run 80% of our current ads on what works best now, right? I mean, if you have been in industry for at least a year, you know which kind of ad sets, which kind of strategies are working the best. But things will always constantly change, so you need to be constantly testing for new things, right? So we came up with the 8-2 rule. So you run 20% of your ads, or maybe 10% if you're not comfortable of spending that much money on new optimization, new features and new types of ads or whatever. Right, so I believe Facebook came out with a lot of new features over the past year. I remember when LTV lookalike audiences came up, some of the value conversion, new optimization windows, a lot of that are constantly. So Facebook is constantly coming up with new things, and you always do need to be constantly testing for these things. All right, so if you're testing these things late, you'll always be late to the trend. So if you're testing it yourself, why not be the first to actually know that this thing works, right? Rather than be waiting for people to tell you, or courses to come up say, hey, this thing works, right? So rather than being late, why not spend some money and be one of the first to test out the new features, and who knows, it might have really good results for you. All right, so the conclusion of this entire thing is that you need to always be adapting to new changes and deal with it calmly. All right, so when new trends appear, always test new features. All right, you do not know what the new features comes along, so who knows what kinds of benefits or new profits it might bring you. All right, so that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. That's all for this video. I'll see you in the next one.